Yo, what's good, everybody? My name is Ray.
I'm Marco.
We're the Love the Game Pod. It's a 35th episode, man. So we appreciate everybody for showing support. We see everyone's messages and what everyone has to say. Like we really see it all. We appreciate that. But today, man, unfortunately, the Sixers have lost to the Knicks down 3-0, 108 to 94. Um, you know. It was a sad day. It was a sad day yesterday. Jalen Brunson had a game, 33 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds. Um, you know, Knicks bench really stepped up, Landry Shamet, 15 points. Um, Mitchell Robinson played minutes when Karl Anthony Towns was in foul trouble. Um, you know, just a lot of takeaways from this game. Um, yeah, man, this has definitely been tough, man. Cole, what's your reaction been? I guess post game reaction wise.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a disappointing series. This one's essentially over. This doesn't feel like the Celtics one where you're like down 3-1, but like
Yeah,
you got Embiid coming back because like in this one you have Embiid for the 2 games and he just like hasn't looked good.
yeah,
In all
yeah,
honesty, and like a lot of that is just his body is just seemingly not holding up. Like
yeah,
on the
yeah,
defensive end, he's kind of just been food.
yeah,
Just like in the Celtics series, I wouldn't say he was great defensively, but he was pretty good, I think, for most of the time. But this one that just hasn't been the case. Um, Maxey was talking about like his finger last game, and then he came back today and he attempted three threes, but I think he had like one 3-point attempt in the whole first half, and then
yeah,
one of
yeah. It
his
definitely
three
looked like that.
was
Yeah,
like a bomb at the end of the fourth quarter.
mm,
So yeah, I mean, I'm just like looking at it. I think there's honestly kind of been a disappointing series for like every single player when the Sixers, and like going into that, I kind of didn't expect that. I kind of I don't know, maybe it was like coming off a big series one, but I kind of had like
yeah,
more
yeah,
faith than I usually would about Embiid's body holding up because of how good he
mhm,
looked in the Celtics series and the games that he played.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, it's tough when you like look across the board, and I was like trying to see if like I thought any Sixer had like a series that I wouldn't consider disappointing, and like quite frankly, no. Like I feel like every single
yeah,
player on the roster has like not lived up to expectations, and like you could look at the bench. Like I know our bench had like 0 points until like whatever like time in the third quarter.
yeah,
But I mean, when Embiid and Max, you're having like a series this tough, like it's gonna be really hard to do anything. Like, is it their fault or is it not their fault? I don't really care. Like, I think we exceeded expectations. Like during the season, I
yeah.
kind of expected us to be a playing team, and then when the playing came, I thought we were gonna get bounced in the play, and then I thought we were gonna get swept in the first round.
Hmm.
So I mean, if you like really take a step back, would I call this season a success? No, I don't think it's a success unless you like successfully tank for like a top pick, or you like make the finals or you win the finals. Those are like successful seasons based on your goals.
Yeah,
But like, do I think we exceeded expectations? I think that's like kind of what people mean when they ask if a season is successful. And I
yeah,
would say I
yeah,
think like we succeeded expectations this season. And I think this was like a valuable experience for VJ. And we
yeah,
got a like closer look at Maxey as like a first option for most of the time. And I think Paul George played good basketball. And B kind of got the monkey off his back with the Celtics series and stuff. And with a really impressive playoff series there. So I think there are positives to take away from the season, even though this is like such a brutal ending to just look this bad in the second round.
yeah. I mean, to literally piggyback off you, there's so much that you can take away. I feel like coming off of that game 7 win, it was such an emotional win. Even like as fans, we didn't really like register that we had a game in 48 hours, it felt like. So I think just going into game 2 specifically, that was when I kind of realized like, dang, like I don't know how this series is gonna go because like I guess from my experience watching the playoffs, you have to have a specific level of consistency um, in order to succeed. And I feel like you know, historically we haven't been doing that. But I think this series, injuries definitely played a huge role in that. And that's probably why Maxey was playing like 46 minutes per game this series. You know what I mean? Like,
There. I think that's a
yeah,
team building mistake. I think like at the deadline, like I know that we sold away one of our guards who was like a smaller guard. And he might have been a tough matchup this series. But I do think that getting more guard depth, especially like a bigger guard who could
Yeah,
like shoulder a playmaking load, and Tyrese Maxey was off. I know we tried to do that with campaign, and unfortunately he got hurt. But there are a lot of players on this roster who aren't very playable come playoff time. So it is tough, especially when Tyrese Maxey like was handling the ball and like not feeling like good to shoot when he was. Like getting
yeah,
him rest
yeah,
would have been good, and like having him out there when he was in that state that he was, that doesn't help either.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, this is a. I'm even looking at the stats right now. In the playoffs, like with the Knicks, Jalen Brunson right now he's averaging 27.6 points per game,
Hmm.
2.3 rebounds, 5.7 assists on 60.1% true shooting. Cat, 21.1 points per game, 57% basically from the field, 40% from three. And he has a 73.6 percent true shooting percentage with 12.8 rebounds and 6.8 assists, and almost 2 blocks per game. And both of these guys are averaging these stats in the playoffs, if I didn't, say it earlier. But yeah, I felt like even in this series, like the Knicks have been beating the Sixers in a lot of different ways, specifically like the little things. I'd say like hustling is a big one, playmaking, ball movement is another thing that I've seen. Um, I think we didn't let Brunson play one dimensional. In like I say this in terms of like think Nikola Jokic, where it's like you like when you're playing Nikola Jokic, your goal is to make him a scorer only, not a facilitator and a scorer. You know what I mean? And I feel like the Sixers just didn't execute well at that. And credit to the Knicks bench for making tough shots and smart plays. Um, yeah, man. I mean, we just kind of got to bite the bullet on this one. I think, like you said, this is a great learning experience for our rookies, for our young players, and even though there's a huge chance that we're gonna lose the series, I think again, this is probably the best situation that the Sixers have had in a long time, and there's a lot of interesting moves that they can make from this deadline, or I guess from this point onward for the end of the season. And I'm actually more optimistic than I have been in previous years. So, yeah, man. You got anything else to say before we go into the next games?
Yeah, I think I'm interested to see what they're gonna do team building wise. Especially the draft. I'm really
Yeah,
interested to see how that's gonna work. Um, because there gonna be a there should be a good amount of interesting players on the board. I know like not everybody has made a decision yet whether they're gonna stay in the draft or like go back to school.
yeah.
Um, but I'm interested to see if they prioritize like a wing, like a Dalen Swain type player who I don't really think will be there at 22, but I'm just like going to like throw players out. Like
Mhm.
Mraz Johnson who could play like either big spot. He would be cool. Or like Alan Graves, who is like just a power forward who like rebounds the ball really well and shoots the ball well. So I'm kind of excited to see like I'm going to like put on my Daryl Morey hat and try to think like him because I'm
Yeah,
usually pretty
yeah,
good
yeah.
at guessing like who he's going to draft. Um, I would think I would think he like prioritizes the player who he just has the highest on his board. So like if Bennett Sturts were to fall to 22, who's a point guard, I
Mm,
think that he might like go him.
mm.
But I'm wondering like what archetype he would like really value there because I think that would be interesting to see like as the future of the team, like how that would go. I think it would be an interesting move to like try to consolidate some of our future picks to try to get multiple first round picks this year in such a good draft because I do think there are so many players that would really fit our team, but I don't really see us doing that. Like kind of like what the Timberwolves did, like to trade up for Rob Dillingham. Like they
Yeah,
threw
yeah,
two
yeah,
firsts at like the Spurs to get a top 10. And I'm not saying we gotta like get a top 10 pick. I think that we could get like a teens pick, or something like that, and like
yeah.
have 16 and 22 or something like that
Mm.
or 17 and 22. I think that would be interesting too. And just like try to get on one timeline with like
Yeah,
Maxi
yeah, yeah. That
and
makes sense.
BJ because you know what I mean? Because it gets really tricky. Like if you have like first in like 2028 or something like that, and Tyrese Maxey is like pushing 30, and then
Yeah,
you got BJ
yeah,
in his prime, and then you're trying
yeah,
to develop those guys. I'm
yeah.
wondering if we try to consolidate some picks to try to like get on one timeline. And like the only way to like really build a team at this point is like through the draft, you're using a draft capital to get like a disgruntled player or like a
Mm.
player who you value. And depleting that just for the sake of having um like more salary, I think that just leads to you overpaying a player in free
And
agency,
then
like
we're in a
similar.
whole like we're in a whole situation that we've always been basically.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
just dig the hole deeper, and
Yeah.
I don't think we're in a situation where you continue to dig the hole deeper. Like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's what happens when you have like an abundance of salary cap going into free agency. That isn't what it used to be.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
know that's like a common take. I kind of disagree with that. I still think you have to wait it out. Like if somebody's like, "Oh, I'm gonna give you two first round picks," that's fine. Like I understand that. Like not that I don't love these players, but just for the sake of like freeing up the salary cap, trying to accumulate more assets for your assets that are like depreciating, and like really try to build around. But if that trade is going to take giving up assets to get off these players just to create salary cap, I'm not with that. I don't think
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
Yeah, nah, that makes a lot of sense, honestly. Um, you know, Sixers, they got a lot to think about, especially this next game going into potentially going into the off season, excuse me. They beat the Timberwolves 115 to 108. Wembanyama had a historic game. 39 points, 15 rebounds, 5 blocks. I think he joined. It was like this crazy list that they showed on the game. Like he's like one of 5 or 4 players to ever record a stat line like that. And it's like him, Shaq, probably like Wilt. I don't know. I haven't seen. I didn't see the whole list, but Wemby
Mhm.
had a historic game. The Spurs, they had a great team game. Man, they look like they're gonna be a serious team in the next couple of years. Like literally, this the last year that Wemby's gonna be like beatable. It feels like
Yeah.
seriously, bro. Like I
Yeah,
mean,
I think it's gonna be some like real battles between them and
man.
OKC and
And
like
what's even
the next
crazier
couple
is
of years.
like even this game, like the Timberwolves were fighting, bro. Like they were battling.
Mhm.
Props to Ant. He had 32. Still he's still injured. You know what I'm saying? Terrence Shannon Jr. I think was another player. Like his stats don't show his impact, but just defensively and just the type of basketball IQ that he has, I really liked him. Um, you
He was a
know,
plus 19 in this game. That's just
yeah.
point of that.
Shout out to Rudy Gobert. Like he was trying to do everything that he could. But yeah, man, the Wolves definitely have a lot to figure out, especially going into this next game. Cole, did you take it or did you have any takeaways from this game specifically? And maybe even the series? Like, do you have a prediction?
Yeah, I mean, I still think that the Timberwolves will get one more, but I think the Spurs do win this one in six.
Yeah, me too. Me
Um,
too.
I had like a little bit of my questions about like their like guard situation going into the playoffs because like I think all of these guards are good players, but I'm not sure like one of these guards is like a guard I like super trust to like carry an offensive scoring load for like an extended period of time. Like I'm not a huge De'Aaron Fox guy at this point in his career. And Castle's still young and like the turnovers and shooting scared me.
Yeah.
But like a game like this showed me it may not really matter because like Castle had 13 and 12, but had like 45% true shooting and turned the ball over 4 times, which like isn't really great, especially when you're playing with 1B. Like you would think that your like efficiency and your like turnover aversion should get a boost, which it really didn't. Dylan Harper hasn't like been as good this series as I would expect him to be. I think he is their best shot at having like a superstar guard
Mm.
next to Wemby. But like I don't know, a game like this you look at it might not matter when like Wemby plays that great, and then like you kind of just get things from like everybody across the board, like Keldon Johnson, like scoring
Six
double
man of
digit
the
points off
year.
the
Yeah.
bench. Yeah, 6 man a year. Vassell has played a good series at this point, I think, unless I'm
Bro,
missing
you
somebody
saw
who's
the shot. He
crazy.
like he jumped
Yeah,
into the shot.
yeah.
That was
I
crazy,
was
bro.
I was a huge Devin Vassell fan like early in his career because I thought he was gonna be like a star guy, and he just
Yeah.
hasn't been that. But he's still been a really really productive player and an impactful player. It like that just the team like needs because he
Yeah.
will put up a lot of threes at a high volume and stuff like that, and he can create for himself. And he's a competitive defensive player. I wouldn't call him like a really good defensive player, but he's competitive on that side. But yeah, you see a game like this where they just get it done, and I know that the Timberwolves aren't like at full health with like Ant and everything like that going through what he's going through. But even in a game where you look back and like other than Wemby, I wouldn't say the Spurs play like a really complete game, and they still handle business. And I think that's the sign of like a really great team
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
like being able to do it on a game where you don't necessarily have it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't like be too concerned if I was the Timberwolves. Like I would still say like they looked really, really great last round, and I think they look super competitive this round. Like they take game one. like against a really great team, it seems like they're always going to take game two
Mm.
after like losing like that in game one, and that's just like how it
Yeah,
happened.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then game three is a super close game, so I wouldn't look too bad about it if I was them. Especially with Anthony, I feel like if he was like fully 100%, like this would be a little bit different right now. But he's not, so it's like it is what it is. But yeah, I think we're really going to see like some battles in this Western Conference between the Spurs and the Thunder. I'm
Yeah.
really here for it. I think both of these teams are super fun to me.
Yeah, man, I'm really impressed with how mature the Spurs are, even though they're very young. And it might be just because of how they're structured. You know, you got vets like De'Aaron Fox, Harrison Barnes, Keldon Johnson, even Devin Vassell. And it's kind of crazy because even like Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell, they were like guys from that DeMar DeRozan era. And it's really cool to see that they're still finding ways to be impactful for the organization that they stuck out with. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, man, shout out to the Spurs, man. They look like they're very formidable, especially in their playoff debut, man. Really excited. Now, in the East, it's the battle of the Midwest. The Pistons against the Cavs. The Pistons are up 2-0, coming after a 107-97 victory in Detroit. Game three is going to be in Cleveland. There's a lot of questions headed into this game, specifically about the dynamic between Harden and Mitchell. You know, James Harden finished this game with 10 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists, and also 4 turnovers. Um, this is definitely a interesting series. I think the Pistons are going to win this in five at max. But you know, Cole, if you got any different takeaways, because I feel like this Pistons team, as much as I don't want to admit it, bro, they hooping, bro. Specifically behind Cade, but also that man
Yeah,
Tobias Harris,
okay,
man.
yeah, he's playing well this time. I tried to
And
make smoke of him last time.
bro,
He's
I'm mad that I got to root for him now, bro, because he's kind of been shutting me up insanely right now. I think he's averaging 21 or 20.5 points right now against the Cavs in 2 playoff games, but like still like putting 20 in a playoff game at an older age is better than what he was doing with the Sixers. You know, obviously,
Yeah, and he's
Cade
doing it
Cunningham
pretty
doing
efficiently
Cade,
too. Like
yeah,
it's not even like he's like I could like look at his true shooting and be like, oh, he's a bum because he's like
yeah, yeah,
super,
bro.
super
I'll
strong.
also want to give a shout out to the Pistons guard Dennis Jenkins. You know, I feel like he's one of the more underrated players in the league. He does everything as a backup guard at a very elite level. You know, he defends, he play makes, he shoots, he makes smart decisions. So yeah, man, this team is definitely going to be a really interesting team. I feel like for years to come because they're also very young, bro. But they're just a different type of team because Kate Cunningham is a different type of player. Um, yeah, man. What do you think about this series right now in general?
Yeah, I mean, you said a lot of great things about the Pistons, and I agree with that. But to be honest, I thought this series was gonna be more competitive than it like has been.
Me too.
Through
Yeah.
two games, to be honest, because like I know there was only like 10-point wins both times for the Pistons. But I feel like the offense for the Cavs has just been like super, super, super disappointing. Like I know James Harden specifically, who I'm a big fan of. I'm not trying to like dunk on him right now.
Yeah.
Being
Yeah.
honest, he had more turnovers than field goals made in the first two games. And I remember like I
Which is
heard
crazy.
like Charles
You yeah.
Barkley reading the one stat on the one joint. I forget what it was. Like I forget what they call it. Is it still called inside the NBA?
It might be, yeah. I
Yeah,
think so.
I heard him reading the one stat on there, like after game one, where he was saying that like Harden had like more turnovers than made field goals in like 29 of his like playoff games or whatever. It was like some crazy stat like that. I forget
Yeah,
the
yeah.
exact number. And I was like, I was listening to it, I was like, wow, I was like, that is pretty crazy. And then he like follows it up like the next game doing the same exact thing. I was like, yeah, it's pretty tough. So I don't know. They lost two road games. Like we've seen teams come back and make it 2-2 before by winning both their home games and like making it a series. So we'll see if they're able to do that. Like they obviously have the talent to like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
take games away from the Pistons. But yeah, you're going to need a lot more from Donovan Mitchell and James Harden. I know Donovan Mitchell is like a guy who like you kind of look at the stats afterward and he like always kind of seems to get his, if that makes sense. But sometimes it kind of feels like he can stagnate the offense and like dribble the air out and like not really get other people involved, which is like cool when he's really on, but sometimes when he like doesn't have it or he's like middling efficiency, it kind
Yeah,
of
yeah. It takes away
leads
from
to
the
your
game.
team scoring 101 points or 97 points. And like a lot of it is just the Pistons defense being great. I'm not trying to take
Mhm.
anything away from him. Um, like obviously if this was a bad defense, you'd probably be frying them right now. but it's not. So you probably need to like play a little bit like differently than how he's playing right now. And
Yeah.
yeah, that was the thing that made like Darius Garland so great is he would like really thrive off the ball and he would like make quick decisions with the ball. So he could play on or off the ball and stuff like that. And James Harden like doesn't have that same trait. So like yes, he is a bigger guard, and that's what they were worried about was having two small guards in the playoffs, in like a playoff defense, which is also a valid concern. But then you kind of get like two ISO heavy guards in there who like I thought their fit was gonna be like a little bit smoother. And it was in the regular season and the first
Mm.
round it like looked pretty good. Like I think they should have taken care of that Raptors team in more than 7 games, but whatever.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
they beat them either way. But I feel like it's kind of coming back to bite him right now. Because the way James Harden's playing, it doesn't look like he's comfortable playing off Donovan Mitchell.
yeah.
So far.
There's like it was interesting because James Harden sometimes like specifically this series he looks a little bit timid, and I don't
Yeah,
really know if that's like again what you said that the Pistons defense because they're like I mean, they're very energetic, man. They're very engaged, in terms of making sure that their defender stays in front of them, right? I think they play nice help defense with each other as well. Like you'll see guys like like Ron Holland. I think he had like a steal on James Harden, I think, and he let him know about it after. Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like it's weird to kind of see that specifically because it's James Harden. You know what I mean? Um, so it's like I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting. Yeah, I think I got the Pistons as five.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
also it is also interesting to see like some of your guys that you were talking about, like Ron Holland, play well defensively and make a huge impact on the game.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean he's great defensively. The offense is like really what they need to come around because he truly is like one of the best defensive players in the league like right now. But yeah, we'll
Same,
see
same
what
with
happens
same with
with him.
Thompson too. He played very well defensively.
Yeah, nah,
And then also offensively, I do want to give credit to Duncan Robinson. He's been making some very underrated plays within the playoffs so far, and I didn't even expect him to do that just because in Miami it felt like he had that 1 year and then he kind of fell off, but now he's like very, very, very he's here. You know what I mean?
yeah, the shooting's back. I remember like it was like you said, the one series it was just like crazy shooting series, and then it kind of felt like he had like other ancillary skills after that, where it was kind of like, oh, Duncan Robinson's back, but he's not just a shooter anymore.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
he'd be doing that, and the shooting would just fall off a cliff. But they was kind of doing everything. Like what last game he had like 3 steals along with like his like 17 points and 5 threes or something like that. I think he
yeah,
had 5 threes in both of the first 2 games. Yeah, no, he's been really good as well. I'm glad you gave him a shout out. I
yeah,
want to
man.
say I feel like this is like it feels like James Harden just looks old when I'm watching him. Like you said, like he looks not confident. I agree with that, but I think he also just kind of like looks old. Like
That's
I don't know
crazy,
the way he's
man.
playing. It's kind of
That's
making me
crazy to
sad.
say,
Like to
man.
be honest.
Dang, bro. We getting old, bro.
Yeah,
Cause yeah, man. For those who don't know, Harden, Prime Harden was something different, man. He was something different, bro. But yeah, man. With that being said, our last game, last series, the Thunder against the Lakers. I feel like the Thunder are gonna win this in four, even with the Lakers trying to jump the
yeah.
refs. That was hilarious.
That
Um,
bro, that Brown clip was like one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Where he's
yo,
like looking
man.
at Reeves talking to
Yo,
the ref.
yeah.
Bro, they were making memes, bro. They were talking about like
Bro.
me when my girlfriend's arguing with customer service because my fries are cold or something like that.
Nah, it was even. I'm not gonna lie though. I feel like the Lakers do get fouled a little bit, and I think um there's gonna be because we've had these conversations about how the referees officiate the Thunder, specifically like going into last year. I remember we had that huge episode where it was like the Shea push off. Remember
Mhm.
that was like very controversial.
Yeah, against
Um,
the Pacers in the
yeah,
finals.
yeah, 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 yeah. So like it's really interesting to see this still be a thing. And now it's a little bit different because now a lot of people don't like the Thunder now. They're turning literally into the Warriors of the new. Um, you know, obviously Luka not being here, I think is a big reason why the Lakers are losing these games. It's really crazy how they're beating the Lakers without J-Dub too by these large margins.
Yeah,
Um, and I kind of wrote something down that it might be a crazy take, but I feel like it's gonna age like wine. Jared McCain low-key looks like he's AJ Mitchell 2.0. Like, which is crazy because they already have AJ Mitchell. Um, so it's gonna be really interesting to see how this team grows because they're already at the top and they're still getting better. because their whole team is like our age. Like they're literally 25 and under, bro.
Yeah, and they got like a lottery pick this year, and they got our pick. Like it's not like they're
Yeah,
pitching
bro.
high up. Like this,
Yeah.
like the Eagles, where it's like they just have a stacked roster, and like
Yeah, and they got the
they just have like
MVP,
all these
bro,
more
which is
picks. Yeah,
crazy. Like, yo.
yeah. Nah, I think that was well said. Especially the J-Dub thing. I think like a lot of people like tend to forget that. Like
Hmm.
he was either their second or third best player on their finals run last year, depending on how
Hmm.
you look at it. In terms of scoring load, he was definitely number two. But I think Chet has done a great job this year stepping up. I think
Yeah.
like I think the stats are like finally matching like the level of impact he had. Like, does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
because
yeah,
in the
yeah,
regular
yeah.
season you would like look at the impact he made, he's like, wow, he's really great. And then you would take a step back and look at his PRA and it'd be like 17 points, like 8 rebounds, 2 assists or something like that. You'd be like, that just is like spitballing numbers like that he could have had after a game. And you'd be like, oh wow, like those numbers like aren't great, but it felt like he had much more impact because of how great he is on the defensive end. Like
Yeah,
how he can get his buckets, how he could play off other players and stuff like that. But then like now I feel like you look at his box scores and they're like kind of like what you feel like they should be, which is great. I really like Chet. I really like a lot of players on this team. I think it's funny. Like I think what you said, like they're definitely not well liked, and a lot of it is like the officiating. But I think that is like kind of funny because a lot of the modern day fans, especially like super casual fans, will like state basketball being like soft or like too many foul calls is a reason where they're not watching it. Where
mm,
like this team is like super physical and like yes, they do get away with a lot. Um, like I think it's kind of like hypocritical. You know what I
mm,
mean? Where it's like, oh, like too many stuff is being called. And then the team that like doesn't get a lot called against them and they're super physical and not soft is like the most
yeah,
hated team in basketball right now. So I just think it's kind of funny. Whereas like people will say like they want one thing and then you have a team that's like that and then that team's hated. I don't know. I just think that's always like kind of been funny to me.
yeah,
And I understand not liking like the best team like in sports, unless it's your team, nobody wants to see like one team win over and over and over again, unless you're like the greatest of all time and somebody like wants you to keep solidifying your case and
yeah,
like nobody on that team is that right now. Um, but yeah, I mean, I just think so I get why they're not like because of like the whole winning thing, but I think it's like super backwards in terms of like how the fans like talk about what they want in the NBA and like this
for
team kind
sure,
of
for
plays
sure.
like that. Like
It's internet logic, bro.
you
It's
know what I mean?
internet.
Like they're not getting up a lot of
Yeah,
threes. Like Shea's
and
getting to the bucket. Like they're playing physical. Like they're not a lot of foul calls in their games,
yeah,
like relative to what there should be. But then they're like people don't like their style.
yeah, bro.
So I think that's funny.
It's crazy because it's internet logic plus they're Lakers fans, so it's an influx
Yeah,
of
yeah. A
just
lot
of
of them are Lakers
engagement,
fans.
bro. It's just a lot of opinions. Um,
Yeah, I mean, this is always gonna be a tough series for the Lakers though. Like looking on their side.
yeah, especially with no Luca, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
yeah, you
I
got to
think
play a perfect game to
right. They definitely need like more of that offensive juice. Yeah, I mean, this is a tough one. Like they went against like a team that is like super great. Like we might be looking back at this one like all time, and they could be a dynasty.
Mm,
Depends on what Wemby does, but right now I definitely think they're my favorites to win this championship. And I don't think this is an indictment on the Lakers
yeah,
at
me
all. I
too.
think winning the first round was super impressive, and I think based on that, they probably exceeded my expectations as well,
Yeah.
especially without Luca.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this is definitely going to be a interesting, semifinals and then conference finals. Obviously we're still going to be here, man. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. Before we leave, Marco usually asks a question every episode. You know, Cole, what you got, man? Before we dip, bro.
Um, who is a? I know we mentioned like some guys in this episode who like fit this bill already, but who is a role player that you think is like making a super big impact this playoffs that you kind of didn't expect to? I know we mentioned
Ooh, that's a
Terrence
good
Shannon
question.
Jr. and Ron Holland already, but is there
Yeah.
another guy that comes to mind for you?
Um, I mean, okay. Let me look. Let me look. Let me look. Let me look. Because I know I'm probably gonna say the guy that I said already. Yeah, I'm probably gonna say it because I feel like he's the guy who's getting the least amount of recognition is Dennis Jenkins for the Detroit Pistons. He averages 8.1 points, 2.8 rebounds, 2.8 assists. Um, he shoots 35% from the field. Um, but I feel like a lot of his stats they don't represent how impactful he is as a player. So that's why I got Jenkins. What about you, bro?
Um, I was thinking about going with Case and Wallace, but I feel like he had
Mm.
a playoff series, like not playoff series, like a playoff run last year.
Hmm.
That like he kind of showed that
Yeah,
off.
yeah, yeah.
Um, you ever seen that gif of like the dog digging in the sand, and it's like he's like he may be old, but he still likes to dig at the beach or whatever. Like that's kind of
No,
how I feel watching like Marcus Smart play this playoffs.
interesting. I like that pick.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he would be the guy I go with because obviously we like talked about him in a Rocket series, like he was super great there.
Yeah.
But even though he's like shot really poorly in the series against the Thunder, um, I still think I would say he's playing well. Like he had a positive plus minus last game, and that's not everything, but when you kind of get like rolled by 18 points, that's like pretty meaningful. He does like a lot of things like away from scoring. So I think that he would be my pick for this. Um, but yeah, I thought your picks were great. I was just trying to pick somebody like who's out there, and I know it's
Yeah,
tough for like
yeah,
picking
yeah, yeah.
somebody who's like they don't know two in their series, but that's where I would go.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's been a great episode. You know, like we said earlier, we appreciate everybody that comes through and shows love and shows support. We're gonna be here every playoffs, or not every playoffs. We're gonna be here as much as we can during the playoffs, because it's the playoffs, man. You know, it's the time of legends, man. Cole, you got anything to say before we dip, bro?
Yeah, I appreciate everybody who tuned in. We definitely will be here every playoff for the rest of history. So even though you might have misspoke, like I
We're
do
gonna be
agree.
in the
We'll be here every
3050
yeah,
playoffs, you feel
yeah,
me?
yeah. You can count on us. Like
Oh
keep tuning
God.
in. We'll be here every
We
single
gonna have our
playoff.
head in like glass, like dude from Disney.
You're gonna freeze our brains so we can
Oh
come back and
God.
talk about it come
Mhm.
playoff time. But yeah, appreciate everybody who tuned in or interacted. It means a lot. Yeah, just appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, be on the lookout, man. We're gonna be dropping surprise episodes. Like I feel like this has been fire. And then once we finish the NBA finals, we're gonna go straight into the W. You feel me? Shout out to W because they started this week. We gotta lock in more on that. That's
Mhm.
on us, but you feel
I'm
me?
with it. I'm with it.
Yeah,
I'd
man.
love to talk about them. So.
Yeah, bro. We appreciate y'all, man. Show love, man. Love the game, man. Yes, sir.